A lot of continuity and a dash of revenge as Britain's new Prime Minister picked his top team. Rishi Sunak reappointed existing ministers, brought back old hands and largely kept critics aside as he sought to reassure nervous markets, allies and enemies that the UK is no longer a hotbed of chaos. Let's take a look at who's in though. Sunak's most important appointment was to keep Jeremy Hunt in post as Chancellor, sticking by a cabinet veteran who Truss had brought in from the old cold just 2 weeks earlier to rip up her failed economic agenda. James Cleverly was kept on as Foreign Secretary, while Ben Wallace remained as Defence Secretary, keeping two key ministries tasked with shaping Britain's foreign policy intact. Now, Nadeem Zahawi was moved from Health to become the Conservative Party chairman. Remember, all these three men had actually backed Boris Johnson in the leadership contest just 7 days ago. In an eyebrow-raising move, Suella Braverman, a darling of the party's right who made her own bid for the leadership earlier this year, returned as Home Secretary less than a week after being fired over a sensitive information leak. Her reappointment looked like a debt being repaid following her unexpected backing of Sunak over the weekend. Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch and Culture Secretary Michelle Donnellan, both Liz Truss picks over the summer, have also retained their jobs. Other key allies of Sunak's opponents were handed demotions but allowed to remain in Sunak's top team. Therese Coffey, for example, a close friend of Liz Truss, who served as a Deputy Prime Minister and Health Secretary, was demoted to the Environment, Food and Farming brief. Meanwhile, Alok Sharma, who backed Johnson in the second race, kept his job overseeing the COP climate summits, but will no longer attend cabinet, which is a clear step down. But it was treatment of Penny Mordaunt, the last candidate standing against Sunak in the latest leadership race, that most ruffled feathers. She kept her relatively junior cabinet attending job as leader of the House of Commons, a decision seen in Westminster as a snub given widespread expectations that she was due for a major promotion. If we take a look at who's out, well, some ministers seen as close to Johnson were fired. Jacob Rees-Mogg, one of Sunak's most vocal critics, as well as a cheerleader for Johnson, was among those dispensed. Now, what's next? Well, Sunak will face a Labour leader, Keir Starmer, in the Commons this evening, a day after culling almost a dozen Conservative ministers from his cabinet.